Yokuso Otakus, Dre here. As many of you know, I've been playing the closed beta for Duet Night Abyss, and the second one is now over. I personally thought it was probably the last test from what I saw online, but it sounds like there might be another one coming in the horizon, as the developers have released kind of a laundry list of things that they're planning on changing in the game. I don't normally cover these kind of things, but in this case I read through them and I actually thought they were pretty awesome, and I did want to talk about my thoughts on them, as there's some changes that they're planning on making that I think are just absolutely exceptional, and I really hope that there is a third test because I really want to play this game with some of these updates in there. So a little bit first off the bat, I do want to give you a couple bit of background about myself. For one, I'm not a big gacha player at all. I've tried to play a number of them, and honestly, they never hold my interest for super long. I get really tired of them, and I don't know, they all just kind of seem the same at this point. Duet Night Abyss was a little bit different and really caught me off guard. This was my first time being asked to be in the creator program, and that's another point. Yes, I am in the creator program. And it got me to actually try the game out and give it a chance and try to push through and make some content on it, something I've never done before. And this one really got my attention. I really liked it, and the main point of why I did was because I really enjoy the combat. It could be better, but it is really good. And I just have a lot of fun with the game overall, and it kept my interest in wanting me to log in daily, which again, like I said, is just not something that's ever happened. I do want to say, as part of the creator team, I'm not asked specifically to say anything at all. I've just been giving my feedback on the tests. The only thing I've received so far is access to closed beta 1 and honestly just half of closed beta 2. I missed a big part of it and I didn't get as far as I wanted to. I haven't received any financial compensation. I did win for one of my videos where they're going to send me an acrylic, but outside of that I haven't received anything, and they've never told me to specifically do anything other than just cover the game, make content on it, talk about it, and fill out the surveys. So it looks like they've gone through the surveys and they've decided on what they're going to do, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'll just jump into it from there. And it says here, Dear Fox Hunters, the second closed beta test of Duet Night Abyss has officially concluded. During this testing period, we received a wide range of thoughtful feedback and suggestions from the community. To every Fox Hunter who participated or followed along, we extend our heartfelt thanks. Whether your input came in the form of encouragement or critique, or taking every word to heart. So if you've seen any of my content, I kind of just glazed this game. I have no Warframe background, and the only thing I have is to compare it to other gachas I've tried and not liked. So I actually had just really positive things to say overall about the game. After carefully reviewing all the responses, our team initiated in-depth discussions centered around several key development goals, including reducing grind, improving playability, and enhancing immersion. As a result, we are outlining specific improvements across core gameplay mechanics, essential systems, and foundational player experiences. Today, we would like to share with you the upcoming optimization plans for Duet Night Abyss. So they start off here by talking about the story and exploration experience improvements. We plan to begin by optimizing character movement and main story progression. This will include refining the exploration experience for smoother traversal, improving in-game guidance for greater clarity, simplifying interaction, logic, and tutorials, and lowering the overall main story difficulty while enhancing presentation and immersion. Just reading this off the top was kind of interesting to me because I would not consider myself a skilled player. In fact, I'd consider myself a very unskilled player. Now, I played this on PC, so people might have a little bit of a different opinion when they played it on mobile, especially when we get into the optimization stuff later. A lot of people are having problems on their phones, and I think some people are even having problems on AMD graphics cards. I have an NVIDIA card and a pretty dang powerful computer, so I didn't experience those problems. And as far as the story, like challenges and stuff went, I posted a video on one boss that I really struggled with for a while, but again, I'm not that good of a player, and once I kind of tacked out my player like I should and used the mechanics to my full advantage, that really made a large difference in it, and I was able to take on the boss without a whole bunch of problems. So it is kind of interesting they're talking about kind of dulling stuff down or making it a little bit easier, but at the front of the game, I don't really think there's anything wrong with having an easier beginning to a game. So they're saying here that a new sprint option will be added to complement existing movement systems. This one's kind of nutty because honestly, the game should have had sprint from the beginning. I actually would say that is one of the biggest things that they're making for a change, and it's awesome, but also really basic, and it always should have been there. Helix Leap will support one button activation on both PC and controller with key binding customization on PC. So the Helix Leaps are the cool little jumps that if you watch my gameplay I did constantly. It's just like you jump and you spin, and it allows you to aim up and kind of shoot way up in the air. You can traverse the world better that way. You can also just kind of move faster that way. In fact, because there wasn't sprint, I did helix jumping a lot. It really wasn't that hard to do. It's just a 2-button press. It's super quick, and I never had problems in combat. So the 1-button thing doesn't really bother me too much. On phones, that could be different, though. I don't really know how it played out on phones. It could have been just 1 button with that, too. But yeah, I think having it 1 button isn't really a bad thing. I mean, it will make everything smoother and more cohesive, but at the same time, I wasn't like panicking trying to get helix jumps out. It was pretty simple. The auto pickup radius will be expanded to 1.5 times its current range. I don't really have any thoughts on that. Grapple points will be added in select areas to allow faster traversal. So that would be kind of cool. I didn't get super far in the game. Like I said, I only got to play half the beta, but a lot of times, you know, other than fast travel, some of the little areas are kind of hard to navigate. Like, it takes you quite a while to do it. The helix jumps helps, but I don't know. I think having grapple points would be kind of cool. Plus, it would be fun just to grapple onto things and rip forward. Just a little faster gameplay experience, which I'm down with. Treasure chests that currently require specific attributes or attacks will be adjusted to allow direct access. I'm very curious about their plans for this one. So as it stands, there's treasure chests all over the map, and some of them you can just access, but a lot of them you have to use like a element skill on. So there's ones that you need fire for, there's ones you need ice for, and you have to use the attack on them until it triggers it, and then you can open the chest. Usually that meant you were flipping between characters and different things. It was a little kind of a slog to do. I didn't really mind doing it, but I missed a ton of chests because of that. And honestly, I just kind of gave up and just didn't even want to get them at a certain point. So I think that's an interesting change. I also believe that comes from a different gacha game that I played, but I don't want to say exactly which one because I'm probably going to say the wrong. The avian tower unlock mechanism will be changed from manual to auto unlock when within a certain range. Additional avian towers will be added to the map. I never used avian towers. In fact, quite honestly, I don't even know what they are. I think the idea, though, of having it where when you come near them that they unlock automatically is kind of just a modern gaming mechanic that we've had in a ton of different stuff. Not everything needs to be interacted with to unlock. Early main story quests and beginner's guide steps will be streamlined. For instance, quest objectives will default to the first unit when there are multiple selectable ones, and selecting navigate will directly lead to the associated instance. So I actually personally had a couple of issues with this. There was one mission in particular that held me up really bad, and I had to quit streaming for a while and ask someone in the Discord where to go because the navigation wasn't working and it wasn't clear. And if you like took a break during certain quests, when you're in the middle of them, it was actually not helpful to find out what to do next. There was really nothing that guided you there. And maybe I'm just a big dummy, but I do think that change would help. Combat difficulty across the main story will be adjusted, boss fights will be toned down, enemy levels in trial rank areas will be reduced, and the difficulty of Turret 4 in Chapter Twilight will be lowered. I don't believe that I fought Turret 4 in the Twilight chapter. I don't know that I even got there. But as far as the bosses went, like I said, there's only the one boss that I had problems with. A big part of that was just because I didn't know how to use the mechanics well, and I had to use all the mechanics all at once simultaneously in order to fight the boss. The only real complaint that I had with that boss is the HP just seemed to be way too high, or the defense was too high and the HP wasn't coming down fast enough. The fight just kind of drug on at a certain point. I think that was to the disadvantage of the fight overall, but when I was done and I overcame that challenge, especially as someone who's not super skilled with games, I was stoked and I felt really good, and it was something that I don't feel like a lot in gacha games, and one of the draws to this game. So lowering that stuff, I don't exactly know how I feel about it, but also progressing in the story and moving through everything faster, I think would make an overall funner experience just overall for me, though. So I do kind of agree with the idea of that. I don't really have a problem with it. And You know, I don't know anything about Turret 4, but maybe that did really need to be changed. The difficulty of specific quests will be rebalanced, such as reducing the challenge in Brave the Howling Winds across the Lamenting Lake and adjusting deduction-based clue missions. So as far as the deduction-based clue missions, I didn't think those were all that bad, and honestly when I struggled, like where I couldn't figure out which ones matched with which, I just randomly guessed for long enough, and then eventually it clicked. And I get that that's a little frustrating, and probably that's not what the developers want to happen with players, and so I get that. But I personally also didn't really think it was that big of a problem. The clue stuff really only happened once in my playthrough. It just really wasn't that big of a deal. But if they want to make that a little better and a little smoother and nicer, then I will never complain about that. It's whatever helps me have more fun, and that's really what I'm liking in this game a lot. Brave the Howling Winds across the Lamenting Lake part, I think there was a part in the game where you had to hide behind objects when wind blew, and it seemed like the wind just blew so fast. Like it was the gaps in between the wind blowing and you having to find cover was really fast. And when those things hit you, they hit you hard. Like I got wiped out. I got wiped out once during the whole thing, and that got me to kind of figure out, like, I gotta take this a little bit serious. But I don't have a problem with that. I think stuff like that's not really the worst thing to change a bit. Narrative presentation will be improved with additional animations for characters and NPCs, more facial expressions, greater NPC variety, and enhanced lip sync and emotional expression during dialogue. This one's huge. This one's really huge, I think. And, you know, I guess one of the lacking things about the game is the emotions don't come through as much as they want them to come through. I mean, a lot of the scenes play out in ways that are like a dramatic movie, and you would think you would get that experience from it, but sometimes the character animations are just kind of stiff, and when they talk, it just doesn't seem overly well done, honestly. I don't think it's badly done, it's just not great, and it does harm those experiences, so making those changes would be a wonderful addition. Scene design will be adjusted to significantly reduce cases where entering deep water causes the character to reset. I don't know exactly what they're saying about that. I mean, I know there's a lot of times you have to cross water, or there's water nearby, or sometimes just kind of touching the water like more shallow than you would think will just wipe you out. I don't know. I don't really get that one too much. So the next section I think is a really big deal. It's commission gameplay optimizations. To reduce the time pressure and improve grind related systems, we are planning the following adjustment to commissions and other core content. The commissions are kind of, I don't want to say it's the bread and butter, but I mean, it's like Warframe, as I understand it, is a very grind heavy game, and this game kind of pushes in that same direction, where like a big part of the element of the game is grinding, and the commissions are actually kind of cool in this one. It's a mechanic that you see in a lot of different types of gacha games that I've played, but they always kind of bore me, and it feels lame to just keep repeating like the same like quests and stuff like that over and over again, or the same challenges. The commission system in this one had a couple of them that I really liked a lot, so I think making more adjustments to that is great. Mediation will no longer include time-based scoring. I'm fine with that. I don't have a whole lot of expansion to say on that. So commission exploration will be updated to remove the time limit. Progress will depend on collecting serum from 0 to 100%. I think just overall removing time limit stuff and not just having it be like, you know, survive for X amount of time, especially when multiple commissions do that, I think is a really, really smart idea. I do confuse this one with Hedge Infinite a lot. There's not a serum machine, you're just kind of destroying stuff, but this was actually one of the ones that I liked more, and I think I'm going to really like it with this change. Commission defense will shift to fixed waves instead of timed objectives. Again, getting rid of the time stuff and moving into some actual like solid achievable goals, I think is a great idea. Hedge Infinite will be revised to remove the time limit, so more time limit removals. Players will collect serum by defeating enemies near potion stations. 100% serum will complete the commission. So that's the one that really confused me a lot. I had a hard time kind of, it got boring because you're hanging out around this station and then you're defeating enemies, and then you can collect a serum, and you can do that I think like 4 times at the machine. And then once you hit 100%, you're just trying to kill this time limit off. So you're just sitting there near the machine, or you can even go away from the machine at that point because it's pointless, and just defeat enemies and hope that you collect enough serum leading up to the point that you finish the match. And it's boring, and I think going from 0 to 100 on the serum makes way more sense, and the mechanics can get adjusted and make that work really, really well. And it shouldn't even be that hard for the devs, I wouldn't think. In certain commission difficulties, defeating enemies will now drop white, green, or blue demon wedges. That's awesome, because honestly, one of the things I struggled to kind of understand in the game is how I was even getting demon wedges in the first place. And so giving me kind of a clear objective on how to get demon wedges would be great. If you're not familiar with what demon wedges are, you equip them on your weapons, both of your weapons actually independently, and your character, and they give you boosts, and it's a big part of how powerful your character is and what you can do with it. I like the system a lot. It was just kind of confusing to me, and I didn't understand it more than the basics and relied on auto a lot. But I also didn't know how to get the wedges, so like I said, this will be awesome. The dismantle mode in the Noctoyager manual will be replaced with other commission types. So I never did the Noctoyager manual, and I'm probably saying that terribly, but I never even did that, so I can't say anything on it. New co-op enabled stages will be added to the Noctoyager manual. I mean, co-op is cool. I didn't get to play any of it because I didn't know anyone that was playing it, and honestly, it was kind of hard to connect with other creators in the Discord. Also, I just kind of make totally different, stuff than what a lot of these guys do. I just have different vibes on it all and opinions, so I had to play this one alone. I think more co-op stuff is awesome. Commission difficulty will be adjusted by reducing the damage dealt by regular and elite enemies. That one, with the elite enemies, I super agree with. The regular enemies don't bother me too much. I mean, in the higher difficulties, yeah, they're major pains in the butts, but geez, when those elite enemies come in, they will just rail you. And it took me a while, again, using all the mechanics at my tool set that I had available to me, was the difference in being able to defeat those and not. And I have no problem with actually just being pushed to use all the mechanics. That's not wrong at all, I don't think. Having them a little bit easier would be a little bit nicer. It would make the transition smoother, especially if you're grinding the levels over and over and over again. It could end up, being really, really like sloggy in a way that's not fun, instead of having that fun grind. And the last one is combat and interaction flow in immersive theater will be refined for a smoother experience. I didn't play immersion theater. I really can't make any good comments on this. I think that I either barely got it unlocked or I quite hadn't got it unlocked yet. And that's just because for CBT 2, I didn't have a whole lot of time to play. I got my key really late. Covert commissions and secret letter system. Improving the secret letter system will be one of our priorities, especially around making weapon forging more accessible. Plan changes include secret letter rewards will be restructured as follows. Order materials for event limited weapons, neutral materials for permanent weapons, chaos materials for forging weapons, demon wedges, and weapon track shift modules. I don't really have a whole lot to say about that, honestly. Making things easier is not problematic at all. Synergy costs will be reduced. Everyone's gonna love reduced synergy costs. Anytime they're gonna say that is going to be reduced and you're gonna be able to do more with the amount of synergy you have, is going to be big. Synergy is kind of that controversial mechanic that a lot of gacha games have that gate you into how much you can do per day, and then when you run out of it, really the options they give you is you buy more with actual money. People don't like that, and they have good reason not to like that, and so I think making the costs feel that they're appropriate for people is the way to do it. I think that's a great idea, and the more that they can adjust that to make sure that people are happy with what they're able to do without spending a bunch of money just buying stupid energy is great. The acquisition of order letters will be simplified. Instead of completing specific multi-wave commissions, players will be able to obtain one order letter by consuming 120 synergy, including both commission and letter activation costs. I think having more things that require synergy to be used sucks. I just kind of had my little thoughts on synergy, so combine that with that. Covert commissions interface will be updated to clearly show how each secret letter can be acquired. A new forge display will be introduced, allowing players to view all weapon recipes and material requirements without owning the corresponding blueprints. That one's cool. That one's really, really cool. And from my understanding of what I've watched about what Warframe is and stuff, that sounds to be kind of on par with one of the things people like about that game, is that they kind of make it clear what you can get. Hopefully that'll also tell you kind of where you can get some stuff too, if they give you guidance on that. As I understand from the Warframe community, they overall don't mind paying for things, but it's always kind of made clear that if they don't want to pay for it, this is what you can do. Again, gacha games don't live by free-to-play players, and the games are designed to make money from you, but I think making everything reasonable is going to pay dividends and get more players paying something for things that they do want, while being able to not get frustrated at the things they want to do and not have to pay money for. Kind of a win-win situation in that regard, I think, from my layman perspective. I'll put that out. Forge menu will be accessible from any location via the main menu, which is probably going to be well loved also. That's a really cool thing, to just have quick access to it rather than having to go back to like your main base. So not a lot to say on that, but that's a good one. I really like this next section a lot. This is system feature enhancements. We also plan to implement a number of system level and quality of life updates. Top one here is big for me because I'm an idiot. Demon Wedge auto-equip logic will be improved to prioritize stat compatibility. So I think anything to make the auto-equipped Demon Wedges easier, better, smarter is awesome. I'm a big dummy. And like I said, I don't fully understand the Demon Wedges and what kind of things that I need to be doing for my characters. And I relied very, very heavily on auto-equipped. And so having the auto-equipped logic be better, helping my characters feel like they're getting that good boost from it without me having to put in a lot of effort on it, is really, really helpful for players like me. I know there's going to be the sweaty boys that get deep into the mechanics and they understand every little tiny nuance, and they build these super characters that are perfected at the least amount of tools or whatever they need to do to get that stuff. And that's great. I think that's cool that there's players like that, but it's not me, and auto-equipped logic being better is aces. The memo system will begin tracking both main and side quests for daily rewards. It's all right. Red dot notification behavior will be refined in both memo and ballad pass. I don't know what was wrong with the red dot notification behavior. I didn't really have any problems with it. It seemed to flag things when things got updated, and I had new rewards to collect from it just fine, but maybe that was a problem, or maybe there's a better way of doing it that I'm not aware of. Team setup will support saving team comps per stage. So that one's really cool. I like the team setups a ton. For the commissions, you can go and you can build team sets, and then depending on like what you want to grind for, you can pick different team sets. They follow through all the commissions though. So it'll be kind of cool to have them per stage built out. That way you can, as you continue through the stages, you can have your characters be adjusted for it, which is really cool. I like the idea of it. It's not a bad idea. Toggle for auto summoning equipped partner sigils will be added. That is massive for me personally. I may be the odd duck here, but that's massive. So when I was talking about struggling through certain fights and against like elite enemies and stuff like that, one of the things that helped me so much was using partner sigils. Now, in order to use them, you have to hold a button. It brings up a wheel. You have to pick which one you want, and then you have to do that twice because you can have two out in combat. Every time they die, you again have to hold a button, bring a wheel up, select which one you want. It's not that big of a deal, but when you're fighting some really nasty things and you just want the combat to flow really fast, you don't want to have to wait until you feel like there's just enough time where you can snap that wheel open, grab somebody and toss them out. To have that automatically roll out would be huge, and honestly, it would make the game substantially easier for a ton of people. The fights would be way, way, way more smoother in my opinion, and your character just overall would feel more powerful. It would make those sigils be way, way, way more useful. They'd be used more, and I cannot talk highly enough about that being a change. That would be incredible. The path of adventure will include improved UI prompts tied to trial rank unlocks. A new toggle will allow players to enable or disable co-op mode by region. I don't know if that's, I don't know. There's someone wants that, I'm sure. And the original standard chrono will be split into two parts. So we'll have a Ripple Rondo and the Salvo Sonata, and the difference is all 5-star drops are only characters. The other one is only 5-star weapons. That would be super awesome because they mix them a lot, and sometimes I have the characters I want, but I need weapons for them, and you're just doing these runs where you could pull a 5-star and not get your weapon or not get your character, whichever you're trying to go for. So having that more specified out like that, I think would be really helpful, at least for making the money that you pay for the crystals and stuff. If you do that, or if you're saving for the energy to do it, the little hourglasses, then that would be really helpful. I think that just is one of those improvements that is just beneficial for everyone overall and kind of encourages the economy of things a little bit as well. People are going to be more willing to spend money if they don't think that they're just tossing it all away, or they spend money and they don't get anything even close to what they want. So, great idea. UI art and visual design updates. Improving the game's visual expression remains one of our key goals. In addition to refining character models and environment assets, we are redesigning UI visuals and interaction logic across systems like Shop, Immersive Theater, Retrace, and Genimons to deliver a cleaner and more intuitive user experience. I had no problems with the Shop. I didn't use Immersive Theater. I used Retrace. I had no problems with anything Retrace UI related. And then with Genimons, I think Genimons could be worked on a little bit. The system's kind of weird. It splits like the Genimons into these categories, and I don't know. It's definitely not a great thing. It's usable, you can figure it out and you can use it, but it definitely, that being improved would be great. And honestly, the Genimons I'm kind of like hit or miss on. I like them and they're cool, but I don't fully understand them, and then using them and leveling them was kind of not the best. We'll see what they do with that in the future. And the last one I think is a really big one for a lot of people: bug fixes and mobile optimization. We sincerely apologize for bugs and issues that surfaced during the second closed beta test and for any inconvenience they may have caused. Throughout the test period, we implemented several hotfixes to address some of the reported problems. However, we're aware that many issues still remain and will require further investigation and resolution. This one's like, it's like nice, I guess, that they're apologizing to us, but this is a closed beta test. If anyone's played betas before, in my opinion, I don't know what people are expecting with gachas. They're almost always riddled with bugs. It's not the full, like, we're basically doing later game testing before it comes out. Like, it's not ready to be out, otherwise it would be out. So yes, there's going to be bugs and issues and strange things that happen, and it's kind of our job, in my opinion, not just to play the game and enjoy it and get ideas on stuff, but also finding these bugs and letting the devs know so that they can clean some stuff up and kind of see where problems are when a wider audience plays it than the internal testing team. I'm not a super big QA guy. Honestly, I actually did work in QA for a really, really short period of time at a really low level, but I think even if I didn't, it seems kind of obvious. Closed beta test. It's a test, and we're checking this stuff out, and I expect this stuff. For me as a PC player with an NVIDIA GPU, in a powerful computer, the game ran excellent, as I would expect. I had very little issues with it, but I know, again, like I've mentioned before, that there is some really big things that mobile players are really upset with, and people on PC with AMD cards. And I think that those should definitely be looked at and resolved before we get a full release of the game, because that's just going to cut a lot of like people out from being able to play it if they're trying to boot it and it's failing to load or it's crashing all the time. As we move forward, our team will continue working to identify and fix these outstanding problems. We're carefully reviewing all the feedback from the community, social channels, and survey responses to ensure no voices go unheard. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking they're just looking at, you know, what the majority of people said, because I mean, the minority of people, not every voice, like they'll listen to it, but they're not going to make every decision that every single person says. But it's a nice thing to say, I suppose. Mobile performance and optimization are also an active focus. As mentioned in our day one summary, improvements are already underway, and we'll be sharing progress updates throughout our official channels as soon as we have meaningful results to present. We understand the current experience is yet to meet your expectations. The above items represent our confirmed roadmap in the near future. There are still many improvements underway, and we remain committed to listening to every fox hunter and continue to refine the game. Thank you once again for your trust, patience, and support. We'll keep working hard, and we look forward to welcoming you back to a better Duet Night Abyss in the future. I'm stoked. Just overall, I'm really stoked. I liked CBT2. I've said this a number of times, and this doesn't have anything to do with me being on the damn creator team. I legitimately would not say this stuff if I did not believe it. I really, really enjoyed the game, and I think with these improvements, I'm gonna enjoy it even way more. These are some really good ideas for the most part. I don't think there's any bad ideas. And as long as they focus on them and they're actually able to do the things that they say that they want to do, and they're going to do them in the way that they should, I think this game could be successful. I don't know if it's going to be the next big thing. I'm probably betting on a pony here, so to speak, instead of the big boy horses. But I think players like myself are really going to enjoy it. I think that action players are going to enjoy it. And yeah, I'm hoping some of you guys in the community at least give it a chance and maybe do some co-op with me or something while I play it. I don't know what the future of the channel looks like covering it. We'll see if I remain in the creator program or not, and what the future of all that looks like. I just don't know. This is all super new to me. I'm not really the guy that joins gacha mobile teams and gets out there and hustles all this stuff. You're really not going to see guides or anything like that for me. I'll just be talking about the game and playing the game, and you know, when I feel differently about it than I currently feel, I'll probably move on. And if I don't, then you know, it'll be just a fun thing I get to play for a while, and I'll be stoked to have a gacha that I actually like. Anyway, I'm Dre with Yokoso Otaku. If you like anime news, reviews, and gaming, hit subscribe. And if you like the content, hit the thumbs up or hit the thumbs down. If you don't, let me know. I do appreciate you. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.